Benvenuto! Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Well, today we've got something outside that we have had very, very little of, and that's snow. It's just a dusting, but we're getting, we have the possibility of getting a big storm Monday into Tuesday, I think, right? Was it Monday into Tuesday? Yeah. We have had very little snow in our neck of the woods this year. A lot of rain, and we've had some really cold weather. But, so, the snow made me thought, hey, I haven't made a pot roast in quite a while. So that's what we're going to make today. We're going to make a kind of traditional pot roast with potatoes and carrots and all the fixings. So, we're going to quickly go over the ingredients. Well, of course, the first thing we need is a pot roast. Okay, and we're going to use a chuck roast today, which I believe is just about 4 pounds, maybe a little bit over. I like to do a chuck roast for a pot roast because it's generally flat instead of tall or thicker, and you can get a nice brown on all the sides. Very expensive. This was actually on sale, so for 4 pounds it was $34.89, and because it was on sale for $6.99 a pound, which I don't know exactly what it was but anyway, it came to $28.72. So we're going to make sure we treat this nice and it comes out delicious. All right, so we got our pot roast. All right, then we need some potatoes. I've got 3 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes here, or yellow potatoes. You can use, of course, if you want the bigger ones, makes it a little bit easier. As well as I've got, I forgot what this is. I think this is a pound, right? Yeah, we've got a pound of baby carrots, which are not baby carrots at all. You all know what those are, right? It's just the carrots that don't come out beautiful that people will buy on in a bunch of them. They just take them down and grind them down and make them into baby carrots. But there's no such thing as baby carrots, at least that I know of. If there is, let me know. And we need 3 or 4 celery stalks. We need a large onion. This is way too big. I'm only going to use half of that. But you need a large onion. Use any kind of onion you want. This happens to be a sweet onion. Then of course we're going to need some olive oil to get our meat nice and brown, and we're going to do a little bit of rub. Okay, so we're going to use garlic powder, or I've got granulated garlic here. I'm going to use a little bit of accent, just 1/4 of a teaspoon. If you don't want to use accent, which is MSG, for those of you that don't know, or you've seen us cook with it quite often, use maybe 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We've got some onion powder, some paprika, all right, and I've got those all in here mixed all together. So we're going to need a teaspoon of the 3 of them and 1/4 of a teaspoon of the accent. We need a little bit of all-purpose flour to dust our beef with before we start to saute it. I'm going to use 1 package of Lipton onion soup. This adds that little something extra to it. We're going to use some Better Than Bouillon Beef Base. That's quite expensive, so if you want to save a little money on this, use the Lipton onion beefy. And you can admit that. We're also going to do a little bit of red wine vinegar to give us a little bit of acid. And I think that's it, right? Oh, and some beef stock, okay, or water. I don't know if I'm going to use this actually, because I have several open, what is this called? Containers. A couple of open containers of vegetable stock in my refrigerator, so I might use that up. Again, you can also use just plain tap water. All right, so we're going to get this cleaned up, move everything away. We'll come back and we'll get our roast in the pan and start browning it up. All right, see you back in a little while. All right, guys, we've got our beef out, and we just want to give it a little pat dry, make sure it's as much of the moisture is off, because of course we can't brown it if it's still wet. All right, we've got our oven set to 350 degrees. I've got my pot heating up. Okay, I got that all dried off. All right, so we got our onion powder, garlic powder or granulated garlic, paprika, and our accent in here, or salt if that's what you use it. And that's a teaspoon of each. Of course it'll be in the recipe, but I'm going to get this nice and massaged in there, spread it all over. Try to get the sides as well. Flip over.
Looks like a nice roast.
Yes, it does, yeah. I made a roast for Christmas that I had not made that particular cut of roast before. It was terrible. Worst Christmas dinner I've ever made in my life. Good thing the vegetables and everything else were yummy.
So bad.
What?
Why was it so bad?
I just didn't like it, hon. I mean, I thought it was tough, and maybe I didn't cook that piece of meat the way it should have been. But anyway, we ate it. You got use of it because you ground it all up and made it like stuff for sandwiches. All right, so again, just try to get it over as much as possible. All right, and then we're going to take a little bit of flour. Now, you could skip this part. I think the dusting it with flour, helps it to brown a bit. And there's our oven. It's ready. And it will thicken up our sauce a little bit. I should say our gravy. Although we are going to do a thickening of that afterwards as well. So just a quick dusting. I took about 2 tablespoons of flour and put it in there. Obviously, I don't think I'm going to need that whole 2 tablespoons. No matter what, when you're working with flour, it's going to do exactly what it wants to do, right? Which is get all over my counter. Drives me crazy. All right, I would say that's pretty good. So we got some nice olive oil. And I'm going to get it in our pot. And you want to really kind of coat the bottom. Probably could have used a little bit bigger of a pot, but I was trying to get this to be absolutely one pot. So we got that in there. You can see my pan was nice and hot. It's bubbling a bit. We'll shake off any excess. Oh, that'll fit. That is good. And you just want to try to make sure your roast is all good touching the bottom of the pan. So give it a little bit of a push down. And as always with browning, it's going to take at least 5 minutes. So we're going to let that cook. I'll clean up our flour mess here, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes and see what it looks like. Okay, we've been browning our meat on medium high for just about 5-6 minutes. I'm going to just kind of take a peek at it. You guys might not be able to see it, but yep, that looks good to me. We can get in there and turn him over. We got some really nice brown on there. All right, so we're going to let that go for another 5 minutes on that side, and it should be done. See you in a bit. Okay, I think our other side should be nicely brown. Just wanted to point out, because I could see the look in Wade's face when I turn it over, it looks a little burnt. That is not burnt, it's just very nicely seared. All right, so we're gonna get this, hopefully, get this out of there. Oops. I don't know what I was gonna do with that, but Come on, turn over for me. That's hot. That's not what I wanted to do, guys. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Let's see if we can get him under here. There we go. Now, I think I might end up putting this in a different pot, guys. I was trying to save myself a little cleanup, so I decided to do this in that pan. I might transfer this to this because I don't think I'm going to have enough room for my potatoes and stuff. Normally, I would do that in a frying pan anyway. All right, so got all this nice bits in here, which of course we're not going to waste. I might drain out a little bit of that fat. I was looking for potholders. Oh, you just got to listen to that. So you want to leave about a tablespoon in there. I just poured that in a container in there. I just didn't pull it, just pour it down the sink. All right, now this is optional, but I got this little tiny bit of white wine left that Wade didn't drink, so I'm gonna put it in there and deglaze our pan with it. You could use a little bit of your stock as well. All right. And that was white wine, but of course you could also use red wine. Now, I'm going to heat this up. You don't have to necessarily bring it to a boil, but I want to put my soup mix in there. And get all those nice brown bits up. All right, so we got our package of Lipton onion soup. Let's get that in the pool. And I just want to get that dissolved. And I'm just kind of loosening up any other bits. Now, I've got red wine vinegar here. I'm going to add that for a little bit of acidity. It's going to be way in the background. You're not going to really taste it, but your taste buds, well, that doesn't make sense. Your taste buds will know it's there. If you don't have any red wine vinegar, you can use some Worcestershire sauce. Again, I got my oven preheated to 350. Now the vegetables we're gonna save, we're gonna put this, once we get this all together, we're gonna put this in the oven for an hour and a half. It's gonna need about a total of 3 hours cook time, depending upon how thick your meat is and what type of meat cut. If it's not quite tender at the 3 hour mark, let it go a little bit longer. So I'm just gonna I'll turn this up. And I wanna bring that, almost right to the boil. All right, and then we'll add in our beef base. So you're gonna want about, for this recipe, at least 2 tablespoons. I'm just gonna go in and get a big heaping tablespoonful. And of course, once this happened to be a new jar, close it up tight, put it in the refrigerator, and it'll keep for several, I would say at least 3-4 months. You'll have to use it up. So again, what I'm just going to do is get that dissolved into our braising liquid. And if you use a frying pan, I would use a like my big stainless steel frying pan has got the, couple inch sides, you can do that all in the frying pan. You don't need to mess up a separate pan. All right, I'm gonna let that come to a light boil, and then I'm gonna put this in here. But just so that you guys don't have to watch the very high possibility that I'm gonna scold myself pouring it in there, we'll do that off camera. All right, we'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay, I've managed to transfer our nice braising liquid into that pot without burning myself. And we're going to gently place our roast in there. Alrighty. You don't have to worry about covering it completely. That could even be, you want it by at least about halfway to cover the meat. It might be a little bit more, but that'll mean that we have more gravy. All right, so then we're going to cover this. Okay, so we're going to put it in our 350-degree oven to slowly braise for about an hour and a half. Of course, I've got my rack down on the second lowest. Alrighty. Okay, Google, set a timer for 1.5 hours.
All right, 1 hour and 30 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so now during that hour and 30 minutes that you're waiting for it to start its cooking process, you can start to get your potatoes and stuff ready. I've rinsed those. I've let them just kind of sitting there in some water. So of course with the veggies, our celery, we're just gonna, slice it up like you would any normal for soup. Celery takes a little bit longer generally to get soft, so the thinner you cut them, the quicker they'll cook. All right, so that's it. So I'll finish up on those in a minute. As far as our potatoes, all right, so we got our nice washed potatoes. I'm even gonna peel them, depending upon how big they are. I'll probably cut that big one like that, and then in 3. Of course, if it's a small one, I might just cut it in half. So about bite-sized pieces. All right, and then we'll cut up the onion when we come back. So that's it. So, what? Thank you. No, carrots are all done. We don't need to do anything with the carrots, so that's good. So we'll just put those in there. But yeah, when we come back, we'll slice up half of our onion. Okay, so during your next hour and a half, kind of start to get all your prep work done. Then we're going to put our veggies in our pot, and we're going to let it, or in our roast, in with our roast, and we're going to let those get all yummy and delicious. And that'll probably be about another hour and a half. All right, we'll see you in 1 hour and 28 minutes. Okay, our roast has been in the oven for an hour and a half. Ooh, and it's hot and bubbling. Okay, one quick thing. I forgot to add pepper in our rub. So we're gonna, we'll add some pepper in when we season our gravy. But put your pepper in before you put it in, or when you do your rub. So then we're just gonna do, we got our celery. And that was about 3 stalks of celery. All right, and then we'll put our carrots in. The reason I'm putting the carrots in first is because those are going to sink to the bottom, and they're going to cook nicely because the carrots take a little bit longer than the potatoes. If the potatoes aren't totally submerged, we're okay. again, I should have used a bigger pot, but I think that'll be good for what we can get in there. Throw our potatoes in. I love our potatoes. Maybe I'll bring it closer. We'll give those pushed down in a second, but let's see how much we can get in. Yeah, that's very good. All right, I wish I could get them all in, but we'll cook those up for breakfast tomorrow. All right, and then we'll quickly cut an onion up. So like I said, you need one large onion. This onion was really big, so we're going to use half of it. And just need to give those, slice it lengthwise. And we just sprinkle those on the top. It'll be, make it pretty. And then we are going to put this back in the oven. I think I'll get some more tin foil. So this is going to go back in the oven for another roughly an hour and a half. Check your potatoes and your carrots, and they should be nice and tender by then. What do you think? I'm going to burn myself. They should be nice and tender by then, and then you're ready to go. We'll finish it up with our gravy, or we'll turn our basting broth into gravy. Let's bring it back over to the stove. All right, in it goes for an hour and a half. Okay, Google, set a timer for 1.5 hours.
Sure, 1 hour and 30 minutes.
And then it'll be time to
Starting
eat because it smells delicious in here and we're both starving. All right, see you guys in an hour and a half. Okay, I just checked my potatoes. The tin foil isn't on the pan because when I checked my potatoes, it was too hot to put it back on. But anyway, it's taken about an additional hour and 15 minutes for it to get to where I wanted. So not quite an hour and a half. Alrighty. Yeah, we're gonna gently move this over here. There's a lot of broth in there. All right, now, you don't have to thicken the broth. I'm going to thicken it. That's completely up to you. I'm going to try to take our meat out of here, at least I should say. And what I think I will do is we'll get rid of some of this, or we're going to make our gravy. So we'll take some of this liquid out. That way it'll be easier. I'm trying to keep the potatoes and carrots out. I don't mind if the onions and the celery go in there. So we're going to do a slurry to thicken up our broth here and turn it into gravy. Now let's see if that gives us enough space. Of course, it's nice and tender, so it's going to fall apart. That's okay. Yeah, but I didn't think of that. There we go. Wasn't pretty, but it came out. Okay, so we can take this and set that aside for now. I've got our little heat going on under there. I am going to transfer my vegetables into this bowl. Ooh, it smells so good. I still want a little bit more broth for our gravy. And once you get this, you can cover this. Once you get all your veggies out, you can cover it if you want. Although it's going to happen so quickly. But if you want to cover it, put it aside so that they don't cool down. Now, I could have put them around, you know, just around the roast, but I'm going to cut that right in that that platter. So. And that's started to boil, which is good. I am going to put some more in there. And that should be good. Yeah, we'll do one more. All right, so we got 2 tablespoons of cornstarch in there. Pour a cup of water and mix it up. Make sure you get all the lumps out. And like we've done before, you want to start to put this in slowly. See how thick it gets. Of course, you always want to do this when your liquid is hot. And we'll let that go a bit. Starting to thicken up a little bit. And as that comes back to a boil, it should be right where I want it. No, I don't particularly, at least the way we like it, I don't want it a really, really tight or thick gravy. But if you want it a little thicker, then you'd increase your cornstarch, and I think that's going to be perfect. See if I can give you an idea of how it's thickened up. I got another spoon around here someplace for that. So that's right about where I want it. Of course, the longer you let it boil, give it a couple more seconds, the thicker it will get. And remember, we forgot to add our pepper. So I'm going to add that in now. I knew there was only a small amount in there. And I'm going to use that. Just going to give that a quick taste. Delicious. All right, that's done. All right, guys, we're going to finish making this look all pretty, and then we're going to plate it up and we're going to eat. We'll see you in a little while. Okay, we're done and we're going to eat. Yay! I'm going to get into that roast first.
Smells good. This is my kind of meal.
This is one of Wade's favorite meals is the roast. Meat and potatoes. That's delicious, if I can say so myself. It's nice and tender. It's got a little tiny, just enough texture to it. So with the chuck roast, that you've got to chew to it. But
Oh, delicious.
let's try our veggies.
Beat you to the punch.
Delicious.
Absolutely delicious.
It is. I agree. Well, once again, as I always say, I hope you have enjoyed cooking dinner with us or watching us cook dinner. I would certainly love for you to try this recipe yourself and let me know how it is.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say right now.
Please remember to like and subscribe. And check out cherryhillhomecooking.com. And we'll see you in the next video.
Ciao.
Bye.
Oh, that's delicious.
Oh, it is.